What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Legitical Response, and I love the debate that's going on right now. I love covering these debates. These debates sometimes get outright crazy, but this phenomena around Joe Biden, we've been seeing his cognitive decline. It's been apparent. It's been laid out before us that everybody can see it. And now that this has been happening, we can see that, hey, a lot of these people on the left, a lot of these Democrats that are propping up Joe Biden are outright deranged. They just refuse to admit the obvious, right? They refuse to admit reality. They refuse to say that Joe Biden should be replaced. He should not be running for president. And Brian Tyler Cohen is one of these people, along with David Pakman. David Pakman he'll get out there and say, oh, sure, he's got some cognitive decline, but Trump is way worse. Like, no, dude, no. You may disagree with Trump. You may not like his policies whatsoever. But to say that his cognitive abilities are far worse than Joe Biden, that is demonstrably false. There's just no way to compare the two. Donald Trump is still just as spry as he was in 2016. There's no cognitive shift at all with Donald Trump. Is he old? Yes, he's damn old. He's 78 years old, as a matter of fact. But he has not seen the cognitive decline that Joe Biden has, but these people just refuse to admit it.
Pierce, thank you for having me, first of all. Second of all, I was literally in the room. I was there. I was at that event at the Peacock Theater at LA Live. Joe Biden was doing what he always does, which is just waving at the crowd. He has a long history of working rope lines ad nauseum during the State of the Union. He was in that room talking to people so long that the C-SPAN cameras literally turned off. And that's what he was doing on that stage. He was just waving at people who were waving back at him, to the point where Barack Obama came around and just put his arm around Joe, his own vice president, and they walked off stage together, probably because Barack Obama had less of an interest in staying and waving at the crowd as long as Joe Biden did. But this is who Joe Biden is. With that said, I understand why people like Tomi Lahren and the right more broadly have a vested interest in perpetuating this idea that Joe Biden is in the throes of cognitive decline.
Yeah, but I don't have one, Brian. I don't have that vested interest.
And this is what I mean. Even some people on the left. As a matter of fact, Cenk Uygur even destroys Joe Biden in this very debate, and you're going to see that coming up here in a second. But some people like Brian Tyler Cohen, David Pakman, these people that are getting behind Joe Biden, they refuse to see it. Now, he comes out and he says, oh, well, Joe Biden is so good, they had to turn the C-SPAN cameras off. Can you believe that he was waving at people? I'm sorry. Does this look like Joe Biden waving at people?
It looks pretty clear that the president is kind of frozen, doesn't seem to know where he is or what he's doing. His predecessor as the last Democrat president, Barack Obama, has to lead him off stage by the arm, as if he's taking him home for tea in a nursing home.
No, it doesn't. Okay, he was waving at people and then froze up for 7 seconds. Okay, and then he had to be led off stage. And this isn't the first time we've seen this from Joe Biden. But that's not going to stop these people from denying reality. The reality is Joe Biden should not be in this job. Then once you get out the denying of reality, then comes the lies.
But here's what I would offer in rebuttal to that is we're sitting here wondering if Joe Biden has the ability to do the job that he is literally doing right now and doing more effectively than any president in our lifetime.
Why is his poll rating so terrible then?
Pierce, is he too old to have added 15 million jobs to the economy? Is he too old to have reached our stock market to a record high? Is he too old to have brought inflation down to its target 3%? Is he too old to have brought wages up to exceed inflation? Is he too old to have signed the American Rescue Plan, the Inflation Reduction Act, the gun safety bill? All of these things, he is this old.
If he's so great, why is his approval rating at a record low? Why is he now losing in most polls in almost all the swing states? And why are alarm bells? Well, I'd say 1/3 thing. Why are 2/3 of Democrats also of the belief he's too old to carry on with the job? And when you put all that together, why do you want him to run? It might be the only way you lose.
Respectfully, Pierce, I would argue that the reason that this is such a top of mind issue is because we have media like this right now, like Fox News in the United States, like Newsmax, like OAN,
but I'm not right wing.
This idea relentlessly.
I'm not right wing, Brian. That's your problem. The Achilles heel is I'm literally not conservative. Everybody knows that. So you can say shows like this, but I'm literally
we're having this conversation.
I'm not on the right, Pierce, so it doesn't work.
Pierce, we're having this conversation, and this conversation is that drum is beat relentlessly in the United States because it's used as a distraction to not talk about the accomplishments.
See, lies just outright. They're still using the COVID job numbers to try to tout some sort of success for Joe Biden, right? They're still using job numbers, even though we know we've had 10 to 15 million criminal aliens come across that southern border, and we know for a fact, I've covered it here on this channel, that Joe Biden is giving these people some of those jobs, a lot of those quote-unquote jobs, of the new jobs that Biden created are going to criminal aliens. I'm sorry, you're not helping America. And what does Brian Tyler Cohen mean by target 3%? I'm sorry, I've never heard of a target inflation rate at 3%. It's always 2%. That's what I've always heard. I don't know what the hell he's trying to spout here. He starts talking about Joe Biden's accomplishments. How about the utter destruction of this country that Joe Biden has brought? How about silencing people on social media? How about Afghanistan withdrawal? How about funding foreign wars? Nobody in America thinks any of these things are good, and any sort of accomplishments that Joe Biden may have had are utterly offset by Joe Biden's utter failure to run the federal government. We've seen it. I've covered the stories. I could go, there's a laundry list of things. I just named a couple of them, but there's so much more. Student loan relief, right? Going against the Supreme Court, denying oversight. That is just some of the things that Joe Biden has done. And I'm not going to sit here and rant off all of those things. If you want to know some of the failings of Joe Biden, just go through my video archive and you'll be able to see exactly what Joe Biden has done. The administration is failing. This guy is too old. Democrats don't want to admit it. Most Democrats don't want to admit it.
I mean, I think you and we've talked about this before. This has to be a concern, doesn't it, for America?
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually very depressing on a number of fronts, including that my side, the Democrats, have now become like MAGA. Sorry, Brian, I love you. I think you're a great guy, super smart. You lay out your case as well as anybody can lay it out. But we do all have eyes and ears, and the Democrats are starting to look like MAGA, denying that, that MAGA says, oh, Trump won the election in 2020. You have to be a lunatic to believe that. But if you think that Joe Biden is a secret dynamo behind the scenes, as the Democrats claim, you got to be borderline lunatic to believe that. No, the guy is in terrible, terrible shape. And if he has dementia, they get more stubborn. And so what if he digs in and he's like, I don't care. And his mind is actually affected by the ailments that we're seeing with our own eyes. So the Democrats have become so authoritarian that they're like, oh my God, what if Bernie Sanders wins? What if a progressive wins? Let's all bow our head to the Mad King. And that's what he is at this point. So we have two Mad Kings running. One's a moron to begin with. Donald Trump's one of the dumbest people who's ever been in political office. And now his brain is melting too. He's saying, oh, you do look at Joe Biden, he has dementia. My doctor, Ronnie Johnson, he told me it's Ronnie Jackson. Idiot.
Yeah,
so
we
have two blithering morons and people that are affected by mental ailments running for office.
But Cheng, here's the difference.
It's a deeply embarrassing moment for America.
Okay, now Chink does have Trump derangement syndrome. He does have a pretty bad case of Trump derangement syndrome. Talking about his IQ is 20 and is now down to 15 just because he gets some names wrong, right? He doesn't believe that Nikki Haley was in charge of the Capitol Police. He knows it was Nancy Pelosi. He misspoke. He speaks a lot, right? He does misspeak sometimes. Give you that one, right? Doesn't mean his IQ is 20. The dude's not an idiot. The dude is a billionaire for a freaking reason, right? Now, we could get into some of the Donald Trump criticisms. However, that's not what this video is about. This video is about the debate. But Cenk Uygur destroys Joe Biden, absolutely. To think that Democrats, or a lot of Democrats, are utterly refusing to look at Joe Biden and say, this guy should not be running. I don't know why these people just refuse to see this. Some Democrats do see it, right? Like, it's my honest opinion that Cenk Uygur would be a way better president than Joe Biden. Way better. He might even be a better president than Donald Trump. Oh, I know. That's hypocrisy, if you will, because I don't agree with hardly anything that Cenk Uygur says. But Cenk Uygur does not like the deep state, does not like the corporate press, and he would absolutely go in there and destroy, just like Donald Trump will. And that's something we need. We need to root out the corruption in government, folks. We've got to get in there, vote in the primaries, for goodness sakes. That is the most important elections. If you want change in this country, that is where you need to vote, in the primaries. But they continue to go on. They start talking about the debate that's coming up, and I can't wait for that debate, because we know Joe Biden is going to get utterly obliterated in this debate. It's going to be bad. Check this out.
In a live television debate that will break all records, I think, for ratings, probably around the world. And you know what's going to happen? Over 90 minutes, however long it is, Donald Trump is going to take Joe Biden to pieces. And it's going to be utterly, utterly humiliating for the president, because he has been protected so carefully in his term of office from this kind of thing. And when he gets exposed, honestly, Cenk, I think it's going to be utterly humiliating, and Trump will destroy it.
Well, Piers, there's a reason why the debate is historically early. The debates are never before the convention. I think the Democrats put the debate before the convention so they'll have one last moment to try to talk Joe Biden out of this race. Because I disagree with you slightly on Trump. I think he's always had the lowest IQ of any human being that's ever been in public. But I think he's lost a couple of points. So he went from like a 20 to a 15. He's way, way below Biden. But I get it. He looks energetic. Biden looks like, I mean, come on, guys. The emperor has no clothes. They hate me for telling people that the emperor has no clothes, but my job is in news. We all can see how incredibly old he is. So my point is, for God's sake, pull him. If you don't pull him, we're going to lose to Trump. Why do you want to lose to Trump? Why do you want to give up 10 points? Hate me all you want. And every Democrat says it's my fault. It's people, oh, no, you shouldn't tell people reality. They already see it. You've got to pull them if you want to beat Trump. If you don't want to pull Joe Biden, you're saying, I don't mind losing to Trump. I don't mind losing democracy. All the things that I said about Trump, I don't actually mean it. I don't think it's a big deal if he wins. That's why I'm running this guy who cannot move or speak. It's absolute madness.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to come.
You got to love the honesty coming from Cenk Uygur right here, right? Like I said, I totally disagree on Cenk with probably 90%, well, maybe 80% of his views, right? But I do agree with telling people the reality of the situation that's going on right now. And the reality of the situation is that Trump looks great, Biden looks terrible, and there's no way that Biden actually wins that election. If he does get the vote, it's because it's a referendum against Donald Trump once again. And it's a Democrat Party ground game that actually beats Donald Trump. We've talked about this before, the shadow campaign of 2020. As a matter of fact, my next video coming up is going to be talking about a new challenge to voting. The federal government's trying to butt in where they shouldn't be butting in, but we'll get onto that on the next video. But as far as this goes, man, Cenk Uygur is totally right on this one. They need to pull Biden. They need to do something. But, you know, as far as the election goes, I totally agree. I want Biden to run because I want Donald Trump to get in there, because I want change to this country. These people are authoritarians. They are destroying our country. They're destroying norms in this country. Just look at what Joe Biden has done. I don't care about any accomplishments, right? Like the CHIPS Act was okay, right? Taking the banking fees away, dropping them down to $8. Insulin prices. These are all good things, right? But those are the only good things that Joe Biden can say are accomplishments. Like they tout, he brought inflation down from 9%, right? That didn't stop Joe Biden from lying, saying, oh, inflation was 9% when I came into office. That was Donald Trump. That doesn't stop them from saying, oh, Donald Trump says there's going to be a bloodbath. It's all hoaxes. It's all BS. We know that inflation was at 1.4%. when Joe Biden came into office. That was because of Donald Trump's policies, right? We know that it shot way up to 9%. I covered it on this channel. The Biden administration did absolutely nothing to prevent inflation from going up. We had a supply chain problem. And where was the Secretary of Transportation? He was on maternity leave. Yeah, he's a dude. He's a gay dude married to another dude. Neither one of them can get pregnant. It's just utter incompetence coming from the Biden administration. And then we saw Jared Bernstein try to come out and defend Joe Biden. And it was utter just incompetent word salad BS that nobody believes. We are seeing the utter failure of the Biden administration outright, and it can't be denied. And some people are trying to deny it. Once again, Brian Tyler Cohen, the corporate press, for God's sakes, these people are just outright insane to want to run a dementia patient as the next U.S. president. I'm sorry. We just can't do it. I think the American people see it. I think they are going to show it come November, and I think we're going to get it done, folks, and I think we're going to have another Trump presidency. He's going to get his second term, and we're going to try to get this country back on track. But once again, I will stress this point. Donald Trump is not a savior. He is not going to come in and save the country. It is up to us to vote in the primaries, to get new congressmen voted into office, to get good people that are willing to stand up with a spine and fight back and push back against this communist revolution that is taking place. The culture war, as people like to talk about it. You know, RFK Jr. wants to try to deny the culture war issues, right? Just saying it's a culture war. Right, it is. Culture is upstream from politics. Culture pushes politics in whatever direction. So the culture war is the forefront of what we're trying to stop. Yeah, the culture war, the other side of that culture war is the communist revolution, folks. If we lose the culture war, we'll have a communist revolution on our hands, and I don't think anybody wants to deal with that, because in every single communist revolution we've ever seen in the world, right, has been millions upon millions upon millions of dead bodies. And do you think that, oh, we're going to do it good this time? No, it was because they did it wrong, but we'll do it right. No, I'm sorry. It'll never be done right, because you can never get people to agree. You will never get people to relinquish their property rights. That is just an impossibility. If you own something, if you own your property, you are not going to just give that up to the government, for goodness sakes. No, I'm sorry. People will not relent their property rights. I'm sorry. Our country is foundational, is built upon that. And it's going to destroy the country if we allow these people to win. They are already trying to put themselves in positions of power to do so. These federal judge nominees that Biden is putting up there is one step of many steps. And like I covered the other day, these people are outright insane. Soft on crime policies. It's just nuts. You got to go see that video. You got to go see that video where it proves that these people are communists. These people want to get in positions of power to take over this country, but I'm not trying to harp on that, folks. But this debate was insane. Cenk Uygur is right. Holy crap, I can't believe I'm saying that. I can't believe I'm agreeing with that. I can't believe that, given the choices we have in this presidential election, that Cenk Uygur would actually be, he actually ran for president. He dropped out, of course, because he's a naturalized citizen. And he was trying to get on the ballot, which I don't know if that was his only motivation, was to be president. I don't really think that was his motivation, thinking that he could actually become the president. I think his motivation was to take his case to the Supreme Court that naturalized citizens should be able to run for president, because in a sense, if you're a naturalized citizen, you're kind of a second-class citizen because you cannot run for president. You don't have the exact rights that natural-born citizens have, and I think he has a good case for that. I do believe that if you're a naturalized citizen and you've lived here, for the most part of your life, you're a patriot to this country, you should be allowed to run for president. It's a question that needs to be answered by the Supreme Court. That's what I think. I like the arguments on both sides. I understand the opposing argument that you could have, Xi Jinping, for God's sakes, come over here and get naturalized and become president and turn us into a communist China type of situation going on. I understand that side of the argument too, but there's more to that. But I think that nobody is watching this video anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all thought about this debate down in the comment section. I thought it was just great. I think these people need to come to reality. They need to come to grips with reality and realize that Joe Biden is a corpse walking. He's a walking corpse, for goodness sakes, and it's elderly abuse to continue to run him as president of the United States. And that's all I got for this one, y'all. I want to thank everybody for watching, and y'all try to have a good day and stay legitical. Peace.